All right, so listen, speaking of reindeer, speaking of Santa Claus and Christmas, this gentleman is in a Christmas classic. It's Bad Santa. A lot of people forget he was a security guard in Bad Santa. This guy, I met him a long time ago at the Ice House. He's also from Pittsburgh. He's a legend. He's the star of Mike and Molly, which Ryan's going to have a question about. You can catch him now on CBS and Bob Hart, Sabashola. But Bad Santa, he was a security guard. And I also want to talk about Lucky, which was the most underrated FX show ever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Billy Gardell to the show. Billy!
Yeah, Billy.
What's up, my brother? How are you, Frank?
Hey, man, I'm great. You look spectacular. That hat, the glasses, look at you.
I went from a young Gleason to an old Paul Newman. That's where I'm at.
You know what? With those are Fast Eddie Felsen glasses from The Color of Money, and you even got the signature. That's hysterical. Oh, my God. Well, listen, I first have to point out, Billy, thank you for being on the show. This took a couple weeks to do, and Chris Andrews here, the director of the sports book in South Point, wants to say hello. He's a massive fan, and one of our producers has a picture. So, Chris, say hi to Billy.
Well, I'm wearing my Steeler shirt and the Berg hat in honor of Billy. And Billy, I grew up in Forest Hills. So I texted a lot of my friends today. I says, I'm going to be on with Billy Gardell. And I said, well, ask Billy, you were seen at Vincent's Pizza, I know, in the past. Obviously not lately, but...
No. Yeah, when I lost all this weight, all the restaurants in Pittsburgh flew their flags at half.
Well,
I drove by and there was just one tear coming out of their eyes.
Well, the other, then of course at Switsville, the landmark, the Triangle Bar, and I have a novel out, and the key scene in that book happens
he has
at
a novel out. Yeah, he has a book
at the Triangle Bar.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I know your father's passed away, and I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But my one buddy told me he still gets he stops in at Rocco's Bar occasionally, and they have a plaque that was your dad's seat where he sat for many years.
My father was like Norm in that bar. In Pittsburgh, everybody has their corner bar. That's a rule. That's a state law. You got to have your neighborhood bar, and that was his spot. And when he passed, we did a renovation for a buddy of mine's house. I got the really cool opportunity where, they come and they say, is there someone you love, you want to renovate some stuff? And so I got to do that for my best friend's house up in Penn Hills. But while they were doing that, they did, they drive around, they kind of learn your history a little bit. And they were funny. The producer's like, dude, you were literally born in a Springsteen song. I go, yeah, that's Swiss. No question. But at the bar, as a surprise to me, Augie Rocco, who's been a family friend for many, many years, they got like a gold coaster, and they engraved for Bill Corky Gardell. His nickname was Cork the Torque, and they said beloved friend and patron, and it sits on the bar where his chair was, and it just busted me in half when they did that.
Man.
I mean, it was so
Pittsburgh. And so Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, look, people don't get it. I see, when I'm here in Vegas and I see someone in a Steeler jersey, I'm obligated by law to stop and talk to them and find out what part of Pittsburgh they're from, why they're wearing a Tommy Maddox jersey 30 years later. The guy had an 8 jersey walking around. I'm like, are you serious? I actually have a Tommy Maddox jersey somewhere in storage, but it's just the way it works. It's just you got to talk to them.
And then you got to go, do you know the Giselle's?
And they live down the block. I love it. Billy, I just mentioned Christmas. Bad Santa, what was that? Like, Bad Santa's on every Christmas now. You're still getting checks for that, I'm sure, which is nice. Little perk.
Yeah, I think you're down to about 8 cents a check now. That was a long time ago. But what was great about that was one of the first gigs I got. And Billy Bob Thornton was just the coolest to me. We were talking off stage a little bit, or off set, and I was just we were just cutting up, and he was like, you know what, man? He went over to the director, who's amazing, Terry Zwykoff, and he said, hey, let me and this kid improv this scene. I think he's funny. And he gave me that gracious moment to just improv that scene with him. And they even kept our outtakes on the DVD.
Yeah.
And I love that's like the Christmas movie the adults watch when all the kids go to bed. So I love the fact that I'm a part of that fraternity. I think it's really cool.
And you do this with the arm, right? You stop them from walking out. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, right.
Whoa. And I was totally channeling John Candy in that. Totally channeling.
Sorry, folks. Park's closed.
Hold up.
That's excellent. Trust me, I'll watch it 3 or 4 times. Should we talk Steelers? I mean, we got to talk Steelers. All right.
Sure.
Now listen.
Sure.
I know you've waved the towel many times. What's your record when you've waved the terrible towel at Steeler games?
I'm 13-1. Brady's the only one who got.
Are you serious? 13-1?
Yeah, 13-1.
We got to fly in if we make the playoffs. I'm 1-0. I did a Kansas City Chiefs game about 7 years, and I got to do, and we won. It was before Mahomes. I think Steve DeBerg was the quarterback. Doesn't matter, but a win's a win. So listen, this is their 3rd home game in a row. It's Green Bay. It's -3 right now. We had 3, right, Sean? I think it's 3, 3.5. I think it's 3.
We're at 3.
We're at 3. Yeah, Chris, but no, I got the sportsbook director. I should ask him. I'm asking Sean over here. I got the sportsbook director right here. So I think the and Green Bay looked terrible against the Rams. We handled the Rams somehow. But this team's frustrating. 5-3, outgained every game. But this week against Green Bay, what do you think?
I like us to win, but it feels to me. First of all, I'm not a Matt Canada fan like the rest of the city. If they'd get rid of him, I'd drive him to the airport. But I'm starting to lose a little altitude on Kenny Pickett too. I'm just not sure he's our guy. I've tried to give as much patience as I can to him to let him grow, but I just don't know. Some of those balls looked overthrown and they looked forced, and then there's glimpses of greatness. So that kind of keeps me reinvested. This week, it feels to me like our game plan this whole year is bring a team down to our level, have a rock fight, and win by a field goal. And that's kind of old Steeler football, but I'm not sure. I like Warren as a better back than I do Najee. But they make me so nervous with the point spread. 3 sounds dead on the money to me. Like, that sounds like a push to me. But I do think the Steelers are going to win this week because I believe we have a Super Bowl defense. Mm-hmm. I just think, we got a 72 Pinto for offense.
Pintos, Ryan, were cars made by Ford that exploded upon slight impact. He's 23, Billy. I got to explain this stuff to him.
I know.
But, and Pickett, they're saying, well, he did have a lot of errant throws, but, he had a rib injury, and to throw with bad ribs, but look, he's a Pitt kid. He went to Pitt. He's from Jersey or whatever.
No, but you get a lot more leeway than most guys do. But like I joked about on a show not too long ago, Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls, and we sent him to therapy. You better pull it together,
man. And if you look at Bradshaw's stats the first few years when he was out of Louisiana Tech or whatever, Louisiana State,
Louis Tech,
Louis Tech, yeah. They were not good. But that's when you had a chance to mature.
Yeah, and he got benched for Jefferson too.
Jeez.
So, Knowles had to sit him down before he matured. I don't know what it's going to take. I think I'm not happy with the play calling like anybody else, but I'm also an armchair quarterback. I don't know what's going on. I'm a Pittsburgher. It's my right to complain. But I'm not sure he's the kid. I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. So, and I had high hopes for him, but I could be wrong. Maybe in the next few weeks he matures. I don't know. I really don't know.
I feel like it's a big game for him this week because he's had 9 days to let the ribs and the obliques heal, which I know there's nothing you can really do for that. But we have to win this game because we go on the road to Cleveland and Cincinnati. So being 6-3, we could be 6-5 real quick, but we need that win this week.
This is a must win, and so we can't be looking past them. I do think that I think Jordan Love is overrated, and I think our defense is going to wreak havoc on him. I really do. And like I said, the defense it breaks my heart when the defense is this good and we don't have an offense to at least back it up and manage the game. Because this defense with Watt and Highsmith now coming into his own, and now we got the captain back, man. And so and Joey Porter Jr. stepping up. Yeah. And I think that defense they're great, man. They're the reason we've had good field position if we've had good field position. So I don't know, man. I hope if we could put up 17 and then let the defense do its thing, we win that game.
Yeah, I was going to say about Pickett. Before the draft, when they drafted Pickett, I told everybody there's no chance they can not draft Pickett.
Yeah,
they passed on Marino in '83, and if they pass on another Pitt quarterback, who a lot of people had in the first round, and he winds up being a star, that they'll never recover from that mistake. So they had to draft Pickett. But I'm like you, Billy. I'm hoping for the best. I'm not all that optimistic, even though it's his second year. He's 25 years old, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, he played for 7 years.
Yeah, so so it's time to start shaping up, and I'm not that optimistic.
the other thing that bothers me, and tell me if this rubs you wrong, but when you see what Dobbs has done.
Yeah.
Dobbs went into Arizona and beat the Cowboys. Then he spent, I don't know, 2.5 hours learning the playbook for Minnesota. Went out and won that game, and we had him on the bench. So what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, just the alternate plan, Mitch Trubisky. We've seen that movie, right? We've seen it. Then there's Mason Rudolph.
No,
I know.
we need a garage. We need to have a garage sale. It's time to go.
Just put them all out on the lawn. See what people want to
Put
come
him out sit him out on a folding chair. You get here. Take him, and you get a free cake of pierogies. Just get him off the lawn.
Now, listen. I saw your expression when I mentioned the show Lucky, and when I bumped into you in the past, Lucky was a show with you and John Corbett, great cast, and it was on FX. Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
Love Everett Carradine. This was a great show, Chris. It was only how many? 13 episodes. It didn't run long.
It was 13 episodes, and it got nominated for a Best New Comedy Emmy, and then they canceled it.
Yeah.
And I'll never know why. But that show was so cool, and we filmed it there in Vegas, mostly down on Fremont.
Yeah, Fremont.
No one's. I mean, it was absolutely. That crew was so fun at the time. Like, we would start filming at 7, we'd wrap at 7, take a shower, and then we'd be gambling and having cocktails until it was like being in Ocean's 11, 4 a.m. Shower, an hour of sleep, back on the set. It was so wonderful and written so beautifully by Rob and Mark Cullen. And then, I think we were like 2 years ahead of the World Series for poker craze. And I think if that had synced up, that show would have gone through the stratosphere. But it's still a classic and one of my favorite things I ever did.
Oh, it's excellent. I don't know. Have you ever seen it?
I have seen it. I have to rewatch it now, really. I mean, I remember seeing that, and all the Las Vegas stuff. It was fantastic. John Corbett, big fat Greek wedding.
And especially if you're a fan of Vegas, that really caught the local nutcases, and it was just one, and it was so fun to play that. It's so fun to play that. It was just a joy.
What's your favorite Vegas story? Either filming that or working here. What's the Vegas story with Billy Gardell?
Well, the only ones I remember are the bad ones. Yeah. And there was a week 2 years ago. I go out to the sports book, and my buddies and I, there's about 10 of us, and we go once a year, and it's nice because everybody's married and lame now, so there's no trouble. But we go to dinner, by the pool, and then we gamble, and we always make sure we're in the book for football day. Well, one day my buddy Sonny, God rest his soul, he looks up and he sees that Buffalo has lost their quarterback for the day. They're playing Minnesota, or maybe it was Minnesota over Buffalo. The quarterback up. The odds shoot up to 2,200 to 1. So you never see those kind of odds. So we all think, all right, there's 10 of us. For the hell of it, let's all put $50 on this 2,200 to 1 bet. So, sounds great. Because the night before we talk about it, we're going to do it to book. So then we go down. We all put our bets in, and we're watching. And I'm looking up, and I catch the score of that game. And I think I'm pretty sure it was Buffalo that had no chance of winning. They're up by 5 because there was a safety. Now they're up by 12. And I start getting nervous because I'm like, I didn't put that bet in. And so now I start asking all my Jagoff friends, did you put the bet in? Nobody put the bet in. That hit, it would have been 15, 20 grand between all of us split. Not one of us put the bet in. And so to me, that's like my old man in the sea. It's the whale that got away. It was right there in front of me, and it went away.
So
I love it. We did. I love Vegas. To me, I'm an old school Vegas guy. I like hanging. I actually go outside to Henderson. Yeah. I like the Green Ranch out there and a few other spots in town. But I like the Point. I like Red Rock. I'm a guy that still likes. Like, I like to be in Vegas, and it feels a little more Sinatra than it does chaos. So I like it a little bit slow these days. Now, when I was younger, I liked the it up. But now that I'm 54, it's like, you know what? Just don't bump into me with a 3-yard glass of beer. I'm on my way to the.
Yeah, no one has ever done anything good with the frozen margarita yard. That's the Excalibur crowd. I've seen more people. And by the way, just a little tip to everyone: it's all sugar. You're just getting sugar. There's this much booze. And it's free refills. Free refills. Woo! You're drinking sugar. It's just going to amp them up, and then they're going to get pissed at the Knights in Armor and stuff like that. But yeah.
Exactly.
Now, we worked together in Vegas. How long ago was Monopoly? Yeah.
Oh my God. I guess. And by the way, our dear friend Kevin Belenkoff says his absolute best. I love that man to death.
That's great.
And we did Monopoly Millionaires Club. I want to say it was about 10 years now.
That sounds about
10
right.
years ago.
Yeah, something like that. 2015 to 2016. Yeah. Okay. I'm told
that was a great show, man. It didn't have the right broadcast capability because we were involved at the time with the lottery, and every state lottery had a rule, and to get anything approved, you had to have 50 yeses, and it just became chaotic. But that show was fantastic. That could have been on like ABC Saturday night. I mean, it was really a great show.
I mean, the set pieces were gigantic. Imagine the game Monopoly come to life in these huge set pieces. You gave away a lot of money. I mean, Kevin's been on this show twice, giving his picks and talking gambling, and I think he said 2 or 3 millionaires. I'm sure he's probably live commenting now. But I mean, it was so much fun. And Scott St. John, who was one of the producers too, called me. He goes, "Look, do you want to come up to Vegas? We can gamble. Billy Gardell. It's Monopoly." I'm like,
Gotcha. Yeah, when we got you, I was like, Nicotero, that's great.
Yeah.
And what was great about that? I don't know if Kevin told you this, but we grabbed a PA every time we filmed. I think we'd do 5 in a day. And we would grab a PA, and he was supposed to be doing stuff on set. And we said, "Look, you're about to make more money than you were going to make working here. So what you're going to do is, for me and Mr. Belenkoff, you're going to run to the sports book and back and get tickets and cash tickets for us all day with horses and baseball." So this kid, we would tip him out every time we won, and he had a great day because Kevin's good at picking them, and we had him running back and forth, and that was his gig during the day. And I said, if we go full time with this thing, that's just your new job. Your job is to go. It was really great.
Yeah, Kevin sent me some picks. I think Appalachian State plus the points plus 2.5, Miami plus 14. He has a couple games.
Oh, really? This week?
Yeah, he's got him. Kevin
he's going with Miami over Florida State.
Florida. Yeah, Miami's getting 14. I think
14. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes Miami.
Yeah.
Appalachian.
Kevin has made me more money than cost me money. His percent very good.
Yeah, we've had him on the show, and he's given out winners. You have some live comments there? You had something you want to say there, Ryan? You wanted to ask about you had a question.
Live comment. They love Billy's sweater.
They love your sweater. They're saying.
Yeah, I can't hear Ryan either.
Oh, you can't hear Ryan. Yeah, we can't hear Ryan in our headsets.
That's the Paul Newman line. And you know what I love about this, man? I get to shop at places now that when I was heavy, I wasn't allowed to go in. So now I get the cool stuff. I'm very happy. But I still don't recognize myself because I lost like 170 pounds.
Yeah.
So sometimes I pick up a piece of clothing. I'm like, that's not going to fit. This is a rag for my car. But it actually does. And very cool.
When do you head back to Pittsburgh? Are you heading back anytime soon?
I was just there not too long ago. I did a thing with Steve Byrne. We did a thing called the Goddamn Comedy Jam for charity and the Lemieux Foundation, which was really fun. And I try to get back twice a year is what I try for. I try once for football season and then once in the summer because I'm a Kennywood fan. I got to go to Kennywood, which is one of the world's oldest amusement parks.
It's right down the street from where you grew up, yeah.
Swissville, man. But I drive my family crazy because I'll go wire to wire. They're like, "Can we go home?" I'm like, "No, we're not leaving until you hear that guy say, 'Park is closing.'" I'm a goofy tourist that way. I love it. And then that's my hometown.
Yeah.
That's my stuff.
You got to get the funnel cake.
Funnel cake and potato patch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the diet. There.
And by the way, the greatest roller coaster, and I've the Racer, the Jackrabbit, and the Thunderbolt. Those are still 3 of the best roller coasters.
The Thunderbolt's unbelievable.
The Thunderbolt, it
looks like you're going into the river when you come out of that tunnel.
It does. The Thunderbolt and the Jackrabbit are both over 100 years old now. Now they've updated the tracks so they're. Both of those roller coasters are 100-year-old wooden roller coasters, and I get the biggest kick out of riding them, man. I still love it.
Yeah, because the noise they make.
When I was a kid, the Thunderbolt traumatized me. When I was 8, I was like, I can't go on that. We'll die. and now, you go as an adult and you get to do all that. Oh man, I love being in that park. I'm not a big fan of new Kennywood. I like the old stuff. I like the games, and I like the jimmies on my ice cream. And for those of you who don't know, we got sprinkles. Yeah. And I just like the whole feeling of being in old Kennywood, man. It brings me back.
Do you play skee ball?
I do.
I love playing skee ball.
Skee ball. I'm pretty good at knocking the milk bottles down though with the bags.
Now that's rigged though. Isn't that rigged, the milk bottle one? There's something about the bottom ones are heavy.
Frank, everything's rigged. But if you know where to hit them, you can walk away with one of the big stuffed bananas. I've been known to do that once or twice.
Yeah, I think it was called the spin out or whatever, the one where you're sucked against the wall and the floor dropped out. Probably
the rotor.
The rotor. I think the spin out's magic. The rotor was the most horrified I've ever been in my life. And I saw Jaws when I was 6. That tormented me for life. But that when the floor dropped out and I was stuck against the wall, I can see it visually in my mind right now. I was horrified. My sister's laughing and she's making all these poses because you're stuck against the wall. My dad's on it. That was horrifying. The Enterprise was horrifying. I like roller coasters. Give me roller coasters. So the strike is over in Los Angeles. So actors are back to work, thankfully, right? What's going on with your show? How's that? What's the schedule like now for that?
Well, we have a 13 order this year. This might be our last year. I don't know, but it's season 5, so there's no longer a syndication type of deal anymore. But I think what they got done in the strike is going to make it feasible for everyone to work and live again, which is fantastic. And our show, luckily, we should be up and running again. I think we're going to try to get. We have 150 crew members, and Chuck Lorre's a pretty good veteran of this stuff, and I think he's going to make it possible for us to get 2 episodes in before the holidays, so the crew has paychecks in their pocket for the holidays, which will be big, and then we'll come back in January and finish them out.
Nice. Well, that's very nice. That's great, and everyone's happy it's over. My God, it was way too long.
Oh, way too long.
And speaking of acting, I ask him to tell the story every time I see him. You were in Jersey Boys with directed by Clint Eastwood. Okay. Yeah. Which, by the way, is my favorite musical to this day. I mean, it's amazing, and the movie. I like the movie a lot. You got to work with Clint Eastwood. If you would tell the Clint Eastwood story, how he directed, and what was it like first meeting Clint?
Well, I mean, dude, it's a legend, and to me, that stuff is exciting. I always, these actors that kill me are the guys that say 2 things. They just act unimpressed, and then, or they go, "I don't watch what I do, man." Well, why'd you get in? Do you not enjoy the magic of this, the 1 in a million shot of it? Plus, you should be watching it like game tape. I did that right. I didn't do that right. I can be better there. But these guys were phenomenal. And I got to work with Clint Eastwood and be directed by him. And he does a very cool thing. Instead of yelling action when the scene begins, he goes, "All right, begin."
Wait.
And then instead of yelling cut, he goes, "All right, that's enough of that." And then he stopped. And I had this scene where I got to throw the Jersey Boys out of the bowling alley and fire them. And there was only like 2 lines in it, and he just came over to me and he goes, "All right, just let it go. Give them the business. I think you can do that." And so I got to yell at kids and fire them like we were in East Pittsburgh. It was wonderful.
It's like that referee giving him the business. Was it Ed Hockley who did it?
Giving him the business.
He was giving him the business. He came over at Clint Eastwood. And then, Chris, do you have anything else to add? I want to thank you.
No, I was just going to say, Billy, you went to Woodland Hills, I think, right?
I went to Swissville.
Oh, you went to Swissville? Okay, because I went to Churchill before the big consolidation, too. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. I know we're all part of the same high school now. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's off the side.
I left. My parents got divorced, and I left right before, probably end of 9th grade or so. And then we would go back in the summer to stay with my dad, and then we'd split the school year down in Florida with my mom. But what I remember about that high school is there used to be 3 dips. Like there was a hill, but it had 3 dips. And it's like you climb all the way up to the top of the school, and then there was 3 dips, and then it went out onto a brick street. There was a hill. So you went flying down these 3 dips, you caught air, then you landed on the brick street, you hit the curb, and then the other hill would take you down the hill. And you could just die. We would just do that in the snow on garbage can lids.
Oh, my
Nobody,
God.
no helmets, no nothing. Just good luck.
And by the way, talking about sliding in Pittsburgh history, you also used to talk about, was it your uncle? I just want to end with the Pirates. What are we doing about the Pirates? And you used to talk about, there was one name you couldn't mention around an uncle or something. What was that? You kind of
Sid Bream.
Oh, yeah.
You brought it. That was my dad. If you brought up Sid Bream, we'd stop. We can't talk about that. We're not talking about that in this house. And then he would say, because we traded him with a broken knee, and he come hobbling around third base to ruin our series. Don't bring that up again, ever.
to ruin our franchise for 30 years. My God. I follow the Pirates religiously. A lot of young talent. Can we turn this around next year? They're going to spend some money. They say Nutting's going to get the payroll up to $100 million, which he has to, because we need some veterans. We need some pitching.
I think Bro was a good acquisition this year. I think he's going to be all right when he's healthy. I think that shortstop is a phenom. I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
So I think we got pieces there. What I don't like is that it seems like every time we get a group of guys, we sell them off in August, and I want that to stop. But I think my stepbrother believes we're coming up on a 4-year window here where we're going to compete, and that seems to be the vibe. I hope so, man, because I just, I long for the days where you look in the dugout and Leland smoking a Carlton.
Oh my God, Rich Donnelly. Yeah, Rich Donnelly said he called them heaters.
He'd always be cupping it. He'd be cupping the cigarettes in the dugout. But I want to get back to playing that solid Pittsburgh baseball, because we have such an incredible fan base, man. Spend the money. We'll show up. We'll show up.
Yeah.
And I think there's some pieces there, but it's like Lucy Brown, or it's like Charlie Brown and Lucy in the football. Every time I get my hopes up, they yank the ball away, and I hit the ball back.
Let me yank the ball away for a second, because I can't remember where I was reading this the other day, but Nutting was seen on a Southwest flight. I'm thinking, this is the guy that's going to bring back our franchise and spend $100 million. He's flying Southwest. He can't afford,
and he was in the C boarding zone too. He didn't even pay for the early bird.
The guy couldn't confirm that, but he saw it, and I forget where I saw it, and I'm like, oh my God.
We're in trouble. Jimmy Miller said that he went to dinner with, Jimmy Miller is a manager from Pittsburgh, Dennis Miller's brother. Jimmy. So Jimmy said he went to dinner with Nutting one time. A friend set it up. He said he didn't leave a tip. And then at the valet, when he said goodbye to him, he didn't tip the valet guy.
Oh, that tells you everything you need to know.
That's what Jimmy said. Jimmy said, that tells me everything I need to know about him. He didn't tip the valet.
You're absolutely right. That's a no-fly zone. You can't be like that.
We'll end it on a high note.
Wait, one more thing.
Yeah, one more
when
thing.
Billy comes to town, rooms are on me, Billy, and we'll...
right.
You're going to be a cheap date now. I was going to take you to the most expensive restaurant in town, but it's not going to cost me that much now. But we'd still love to have you.
Now's when you should ask, because I eat like a French woman. 3 bites and I put my head.
And Ann, our producer, do you have the picture? Ann worked. We have a picture of you there. There's you and Ann.
All right.
That was at the Orleans. Is that where that was? Yeah. At the Orleans Hotel.
That's right. That's right.
Are you doing?
Wait, I got one more thing I got to say. I'm sorry. I can't remember what I was watching. It was Bad Santa or Lucky or one of those. And as soon as I heard Billy open his mouth, I looked at my wife. This guy's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It's like the cab driver.
What's funny about that is as we get home, it gets worse. The Yinzer gets worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then when I was filming, I'd spend a week in Pittsburgh, and then I'd come back out here, and I'd go, okay, we got to get out of the house. I'm like, what? You bring that down a little, Bill? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Turn down and the swelled L's. I didn't realize. Swelled, acting coaches or people, the pickle, like the word pickle.
Yeah.
Oh. That's called a swelled L, and they try to get Pittsburgh. Billy Gardell.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy's coming over.
That's called a swelled L.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what an teacher told me in L.A. They're like, and I never had it really, but swelled L's. So my sister will say pickle. Swelled L's.
Pickle.
Well, he's got, how many L's are in your name? 3 or 4. Billy Gardell, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Great talking with you guys.
Go Steelers, and hopefully Kevin's Bets cash in some tickets for you. Send that PA to collect.
Real quick before I get out of here, what's your prediction for the Green Bay game?
I think
we cover?
Well, we do a Friday parlay. Alex White, who's going to be on, and Ryan, the producer, and myself. Our initials are FAR, so we call it the Friday Farley. I'm going to take the Steelers, and I might do the money line. I think they're going to win, but I could see this like a 25-23, some ugly, weird safety, some sort of missed extra point or something. Yeah.
I would say don't lay 3.5.
Don't lay 3.5.
Don't lay your tempting fate.
I think the money line's the bet.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's what I'm going to do. I've spoiled it for everybody, but you can watch. That's what I'm going to pick. I know everyone waits with bated breath to find out Frank's picks, but it's going to be the Steelers. What a shocker. Go Steelers. Go.
Green Bay sucks.
Green Bay. Well, he's a Chicago Bears fan. Billy, watch him on Bob Hart's Abishola. And Billy, thank you so much, man. Have a great holiday season, and I'll talk with you soon, buddy.
Happy holidays, boys.
Wow.
Well,
all right, we'll be
take care.
We'll be right back with Alex and our Friday Parlay, or whatever the hell we call it.